Welcome, I'm Reverend Jane Coley, and today's talk is an attitude of Thanksgiving. And I want to share a couple of quotes with you. And the first quote is by Ernest Holmes. It says, "There is something in this attitude of thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith and acceptance, receptivity, and realization." And the second quote is by Raymond Hollowell, and he says, "The mind is a magnet and attracts whatever corresponds to its ruling state." So there's a story that I found about this elementary teacher called Mrs. Klein. And she asked her students to draw something that they were thankful for on this Thanksgiving week. And so each of the kids got busy drawing their image, and some of them had bountiful tables of food to say this was Thanksgiving to them. Others had drawn a picture of a turkey. A couple of others had drawn things of their family, what they were thankful for. Well, as the teacher was going around surveying the pictures on each one was drawing, she noticed that Douglas, one of the boys who tended to be one of the shyer boys, had drawn a picture of a hand. The teacher thought, a hand, I wonder whose hand that is. The class was very captivated as they started sharing the images. What was this thing that Douglas had drawn? A hand, because they had all shown their pictures. They had just put them up. Well, one of the students piped up and said, "I think it must be the hand of God, because God brings us food." Another one put up his hand and said, "No, I think it's the farmer's hand, because the farmer grows turkeys." Another one said, "I think it's a policeman's hand, because the police protect us." Douglas was very shy about drawing the hand, so the teacher proceeded to another exercise to take all the attention away from Douglas. Once everyone was engaged, she went over to Douglas and asked whose hand it was that he had drawn. Douglas mumbled to his teacher, "Why, it's your hand, Mrs. Klein." And Mrs. Klein recalled that she had taken Douglas by the hand in class on occasions when she knew that he was anxious, as she had done with the other children in the class. She realized how much this had truly meant to Douglas. I looked at this story and I thought, Douglas is showing us an attitude of thanksgiving. God sends people our way to give a helping hand in our lives. So I just want to take a moment, if you could just close your eyes and think of a special teacher you had or a mentor. Just bring up that image or that person's name. Now let's just send them this beautiful love blast at Thanksgiving of just this gratitude, praise, thanksgiving for them in your life. Now let's also send that same thanksgiving to God for bringing it. Thank you. I believe that living with an attitude of thanksgiving is something we can do every day. And I want to share some ways that you can do that. And I've been practicing this. So the first one, we can do something similar to what this young boy Douglas did, but in another way. Many of us are familiar with writing out what you are thankful for in your life. And how many of you have taken time to look at this at its next level? I hope you're asking, what is the next level? The next stage is to state why you are thankful. Why are you thankful? For instance, I called up my prayer partner the other day and said, "You know what? I'm just so grateful for you in my life. You're kind-hearted. I love the way you're there for me. You support me. You're just so near and dear to my heart." She was so touched by it, the sincerity of it and how I was saying it, that I practiced it all day on everybody I saw that day. I practiced it on my husband, and he was like, "Oh, that was so touching." I realized there's something in that. Instead of just saying thank you for something, let us take the time to say why we are truly thankful for from speaking from our heart. I challenge you to try this message because I know it works. I tried it. So I invite you to thank someone this week, today, and tell them several reasons why you truly are thankful for them in your life. Number 2, be thankful in advance of receiving. I know myself, I always write out everything that I'm grateful for from the past, but this is in advance of receiving. For instance, living with an attitude of gratitude means more than just being thankful to God for the things that we already have received. It means being thankful for what's on its way, what's still to come to us. The law does not know a past or future. It only knows right now. I had this mentor that taught me about Thanksgiving probably 25 years ago. She said it's about being thankful in advance of our receiving. Jim Carrey understood this. This famous actor, he knew the value of Thanksgiving. When Jim was still a struggling actor, a comic, young comic in the early days, he was trying to make his way in Los Angeles. And he tells of the story where he would drive his beaten up old Toyota up to the top of the hill in Hollywood that overlooks the entire city. And he would sit there and think of how valuable he was as an actor and how everybody wanted him. And then this grew to be such a practice that he wrote himself out a check for $10 million, and he put on that check for acting services rendered and dated it Thanksgiving 1995. He stuck that check in his wallet and looked at it regularly. I laughed out loud when I heard the rest of the story because Jim Carrey was paid $10 million. And for what was he paid that? For the movie Dumb and Dumber. And, you know, now he's up to 20 million. I think when you think about that, are we being foolish that it can be that easy that we actually put it forth out to God? Why not try it? So it's worth being grateful, this whole thing in advance for what is to happen in the next year. So I say that attitude of thanksgiving, this God aspect of it is already seeking greater expression. And Jim Carrey was already working with the law. The law in science of mind is working all the time, whether we're conscious or unconscious of it. The law isn't emotional. It responds to our vibration and our clear intentions. Jim Carrey was obviously very clear that in his intentions and in his service. Therefore, I say, align with the power of the law. Put out that which is seeking greater expression within you. It's this divine within that's kind of pressing us and saying, grow, grow. Step into a fuller, freer expression of your life. God's constantly nudging us to keep growing. As Jesus said, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe ye shall receive them, and ye shall have them. Praise is this belief in action, and the action is the present tense. It's now. Raymond Hollowell says, no desire, I love this, no desire is felt until the supply is ready to appear. No desire is felt until the supply is ready to appear. So these desires, they're God in us, percolating. I believe that when we practice being thankful in advance, the law works, and it brings it about. If you think for a moment, you can easily see when we think of giving gratitude for the past year, this is actually the reversal of the law of praise and thanksgiving. We're in the now, and it's not about a review, but rather a review. Another one can be anyone can be thankful with the gift already in their hand. And it's true, we can all be thankful. Oh, thank you so much, God. If your conditions are not to your liking right now in any area of your life where you have a lean harvest, it's time to sing your praise and give thanksgiving in the face of adversity. And the adversity or condition will soon disappear. This is not a promise. This is the law. The third way to practice this attitude of thanksgiving is to write out, I love this one, 10 things to be thankful for when you are immersed in a difficult situation. I had a particularly difficult time 3 weeks ago when an incident concerning my son surfaced. Repeatedly, I had to refocus my attention toward this highest aspect that was outside of me, this situation. I was stuck in this attitude of negativity and worry. So I took Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic, and I looked up this exercise that I'm going to share about maintaining an attitude of thanksgiving, which is to find the silver lining in the situation. So I began focusing my attention toward listing 10 things about this situation that was a blessing that I could be thankful for. And at first, it was very challenging to look for blessings, things to be thankful for. And after about, I think I got up to 3 blessings. And I had to really look deep within to that God aspect of me to see the silver lining in the situation. By the time I reached 10 things that I was grateful for this situation, I felt the hand of God comforting me as a friend, as a partner. It was truly transformative. It really was. I highly recommend applying this technique of listing 10 things that you can be thankful for in a difficult situation. To be able to praise when things appear the darkest will invariably force the sunshine through. The mind is a magnet and attracts whatever corresponds to its ruling state, as Raymond Hollowell says. The ruling state is this attitude of thanksgiving that I'm putting forth right now in this talk. It opens us to being this person of increase, as Mary Morrissey calls it. I had to shift my ruling state from worrying and fretting in this to finding the silver lining and thinking of what I could be thankful for, even in this difficult situation. Now, some of you by now may be wondering, why is everything black and white on the screen and I'm dressed in that? It's to represent the symbology that I wanted to remind us of. Things are black and white. Throughout the day and each experience, we're either operating from our higher self or from our human self. Neither is good or bad, it just is. So I invite you to take note, to bring forth this higher God self, looking at the appearance of a challenging situation. The fourth way to maintain an attitude of thanksgiving is to get through the whole day without saying anything negative. Now, of course, I'm human, and when I practiced it, I did complain on several occasions. And when I complained, I immediately turned my attention to saying something like, and, or but, I am so thankful. And I thought of something I'm so thankful for my sight. I'm so thankful for my health. I redirected my attention to something I was thankful for. And this opened me to realize that the law was answering my prayer. So the law is always answering our prayer. I don't want it answering the prayer by complaining. I want to be in that place of thanksgiving, my God self. And I had been paying through that complaining in the flow in my life. I had noticed that I was catching myself complaining a bit about money and things. And then as soon as I started focusing on this Thanksgiving, my cash flow opened up, my clients, and I noticed I had to be vigilant for the first couple of days to catch these thoughts. As Ernest Holmes says, there's something in this attitude of thanksgiving that carries us beyond the field of doubt into one of perfect faith, acceptance, receptivity, and realization. My mother recently had a huge scare with her eyesight, and there was this appearance of a form of blindness in one of her eyes for a couple of days. She had to go to the hospital, it was a really big deal. And this woke me up to being extremely thankful for my eyesight. An attitude of thanksgiving is something we must commit our energy to daily. There's always something to be thankful for. Our organs are working, our eyesight, our hearing, our ability to speak, our ability to walk. So I invite you to see from the same place of noticing that, I would say, this attitude of thanksgiving in our life as we are directing our energies away from complaining. The fifth one is this method of gathering photos of people that are near and dear to you, that you might pray for all the time or you want to pray for, whether they want something in health, well-being, or financially. And so what I did the other day is I pulled up the other night all the pictures of everybody on my phone. And there I was when I was graduating for my ordination. I'm like, oh, look, I love these two sweet souls. And then I pulled up and I looked at all these friends and pictures I had from the last year. And it got me in this place of such gratitude and thanksgiving that from there, then I sent out a prayer for each one that was specific to them. So I invite you to think of a loved one. So I want to try that exercise right now. So just close your eyes, recall somebody that is just so near and dear to your heart. Bring up that picture of them. Now they may be calling for greater finance or health and well-being. Just see as though they're just flowing with that coming out of them, like they're radiating with this bright light. And then just slowly open your eyes. So I say praise with this thankful heart, because a thankful heart, it's a stimulant of the mind. It quickens prayer, they say. And that's what we just did. We just quickened a prayer. We sped it up. Prayer is one of claiming, declaring, decreeing, praising, and thanksgiving. It's uplifting. So in closing, to review the 5 ways to maintain an attitude of gratitude. The first one was say why you are thankful for someone in your life from your heart. The second one is be thankful in advance of receiving that which you are seeking. The third one is to find the silver lining by writing out those 10 things that you are thankful for, even in a challenging condition. Number 4 is to redirect your energy when you're complaining or condemning somebody, and redirect your attention to something you are thankful for in this moment, in the now. And the 5th one is gather pictures of people who you wish to pray for, to truly taking the time in this time of Thanksgiving, seeing whatever it is that would be the highest and best for them to come forward, that you know would really make their Thanksgiving magic. Let us open this Thanksgiving to the wise words of Ernest Holmes. There is something in this attitude of thanksgiving. Thank you. I love you.